Poker's legendary champions, next generation stars, and tireless ambassadors of the game, sharing their wisdom and guiding your journey to high achievement on the green felt. This is Tactical Tuesday on Chasing Poker Greatness with your hosts, Brad Wilson and Jon Chai.
Welcome, my friend, to another episode of the Chasing Poker Greatness podcast. As always, these are your hosts of Tactical Tuesday, Coach Brad Wilson and Jon Chai. Jon, how you doing, sir?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. Just trying to make it through this abnormally cold last couple of weeks. It's freezing here, and then next week I think it's supposed to be 80, so we're in the clear.
High 60s and sunny every day here, so nothing to complain about.
I thought you were getting like torrential downpours.
That's over now. It's over now. It's
oh, I see.
We're into spring.
Moved on. Got it. All right. Well, what is the theme of today's episode?
So remember a handful of episodes ago, I brought in I forget how many hands where I tried bluffing with a pair and asked you what you thought about each one. And
I do.
I think every single one except for one of them, you said you wouldn't do it or you didn't like it.
Sure.
We're going to try a similar format today, but it's going to be me raising the river. Sometimes with a pair, sometimes without a pair, sometimes for value, sometimes as a bluff, at a mix of 500 zoom and 510 no limit. So gonna run through a bunch of these hands and see what you think about them.
So there's 6 of them, right? So 3 before break, 3 after break.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, let's do it then. I've not been prepped, so didn't know the theme.
I really hope this one goes a little differently than the bluffing with the pairs one. Maybe you like 2 of the 6 instead of just 1.
We'll see. Hand number 1, everybody folds to you on the button. You're playing 500 no limit, so 2.5 small blind, $5 big blind. You 3x with the 9-7 of clubs. The big blind calls. You're both 100 big blinds effective. Flop is king, queen, jack with 1 club, 32.50 in the pot. They check and you check behind.
I think we could probably already start here and just talk about betting the flop. I could be on board with maybe using a big size on this flop with this hand. We got a gut shot, not a super attractive gut shot, but a gut shot plus a backdoor flush draw, like some clubs. Clubs are just like an easy barrel candidate on the turn. But again, I mean, it's not like this hand is pushing equity or anything like that on this board as one of our bluffs. So
yeah,
I don't know if there's anything
could go either way
about here. Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
check.
You could definitely bet. Like villain's almost certainly going to have like just a nice folding range to target on
right.
king, queen, jack, rainbow. And, you obviously have like all the nuts and 2-pair and all those hands in your range. So like betting makes sense. I think checking makes sense. You also have like a bunch of natural checks. So yeah, I guess you started with the check option and the turn is the 8 of hearts and villain bets big. So villain bets 20 into 32. Now we
could probably fold here.
asking ourselves why we didn't bet the flop and how are we going to make it to the river?
Oh, we're going to make it to the river.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't make it to the river, but...
Well, all right. Let's just make it to the river then. I don't really know what to say here. I'm guessing that you're calling the turn with the intention of doing something on the river.
I'm going to see what happens on the river. I mean, we still have a gut shot.
Yeah, I don't think this gut shot is going to be the
the saving grace.
The data point of this hand that makes this turn call profitable. It's going to be something down the line. All right, one thought that I have too about the turn is that your plan here essentially is going to be to raise a bunch of rivers.
Mm-hmm.
I have to imagine that's the only way that you're going to turn a profit by calling this turn bet. So this kind of assumes that you need to be checking back the flop with good hands, which I think is, a tough sell or a relatively tough sell if you're trying to fold out. Hands that go bet in their value range are generally going to be 2-pair type hands. So Yeah, that's my
Yes,
only
it's a hard
thought
sell
here on the turn.
You know, it's basically what you're saying is that it's a hard sell that I, check back up 9-10 or ace-10 or
Sure.
king-queen or queen-jack or king-jack like on the flop that I now want to raise on the river.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree that that is a tough sell too. Maybe that's like one of the more important data points to think about here, and just either bet the flop or fold the turn or something like that. But who knows? We gotta get to some of these weird spots to see how it works.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see how it goes. So the river pairs the queen, which go
I
ahead.
think that's great, right? For us, it's like now we have like a
It's
like a thick value range that
thickish,
checks back the flop. Yeah.
I mean, definitely like versus check is like the preferred place to go here when the queen pairs. I assume since this is river raised that you're not going to get the check on the river. You're going to get a bet. It's kind of like, I mean, like if they block, then I think raising makes a lot more sense. Seeing as like, I think versus a block, queen X probably would try to raise for some value on the river versus like a big bet. I'm less convinced and also a little bit terrified that like on the queen, villain would still be betting big. So these are just kind of my thoughts here before villain takes their action. For the podcast listener, the board here is king, queen, jack, 8, queen, 73 in the pot. Villain, they take a middling approach. Looks like a half potish size.
How do you feel about raising this one?
Nah, I don't know. I mean, hard to find natural bluffs for you. That's one really good part of this hand is that like it's hard to figure out what on God's earth you have that's a bluff. So maybe that's a good data point, decent argument for raising the river. Although I don't know what you have as a bluff and I don't know what you have as value, which is
I thought I would have like lots of reasonable value on this river, like ace queen, queen 10. Like all my queen X is probably just going to check back the flop.
Yeah, I mean that's a good thing. They didn't at least didn't go like 70%.
Yeah.
Or like 90%. If they go 70 or 90, I am like I would just fold the river and feel that I had sacrificed my turn bet to the poker gods so that I could play better in the future.
I also thought this river was good for like, the other reason that like I didn't expect naked queen X to bet the turn very often, or definitely not for that size. So, this sort of removes some of the like I thought that if I raised here and got called, it would be by 9-10 and ace-10. So it's also, it's kind of nice having a 9.
Yeah, well, when they bet, like their value range is like you're not folding out their value range, I don't think.
Sure.
Like there's not a part of their value range that you're folding, I don't think.
You don't think there's like a king is a hand that I could fold out here? Like just maybe not like a super strong player looking at a hand like king jack or king 10 and just, going bet.
Maybe. It's kind of a sad hope, I think.
That's sort of what I was hoping for. Because I thought that like a good player with like their value here, with their like 9-10s and ace-10s and boats, would just pick bigger sizes on both the turn and the river. So like what this felt like to me was someone looking at a king and just being like, well, I'm going to bet the turn. And you could okay, I'm going to value bet the river and like try to get away with it. Yeah.
I mean, you could be right. I think this river bet, like it just, their sizing if they have a king is like not good.
This. Yeah.
Not good at all.
Sure. What hands do you expect to see for this size? Like if you called and they had a value hand.
I don't know. I wouldn't have this size.
Yeah, exactly. So like I just thought like
I wouldn't use this size.
Yeah, it's most likely just someone going way too thin with top hair. That's what I thought.
Yeah. I'm unsure, to be honest, but I can get on board with raising. I think from everything that we've said, just like this river bet just feels like they would go much bigger with their value.
Right. Yeah. Same thing on the turn.
So you make it 155 and you get called.
He just snap called the river. I was like, wow.
Wow,
okay.
and they have a queen.
Do bet big on the turn with a queen. Okay.
What the world? That's a hand. Don't really know what to say about that. Like I said, you're not folding out their value range.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm undecided on this hand, to be honest.
Okay.
They bet 45. You raise to 155. You're just like purely targeting a king.
Yeah.
I assume.
Yep. Or bluffs that are better than mine, I guess. Ace.
Well, yeah, but bluffs that are better than yours, you could target with like a click.
Yeah,
you don't need to. You don't need to go this big.
Sure.
You're basically investing this $65 extra instead of clicking it to 90 to fold out a king.
Yeah. And this guy probably does have a king if he bets this size on the turn and whatever with the queen, right? I mean, come on.
Who knows? I don't know. They bet big on the turn with a queen. I don't know what this guy's doing.
Hand 1 out of 6, ambiguous. This is actually an improvement from the last episode where you just hated the first one. So
yeah.
Improvement already.
All right, so
playing 5-10 this
lost.
time. I'm in the cutoff with 9-8 of clubs, up to $20. The big blind 3 bets to 110. I call. Flop is 9-7-5 two-tone. Pretty good flop for my hand. We see check from the big blind. Not super shocking. We could talk about potentially betting here. I think this hand is like comfortable enough to like bet and call a check raise with the gut shot. We can definitely get value from worse hands as long as we bet small enough.
Mm-hmm. I feel. I'm torn. Like I think you could kind of go either way. I do see you are like 170 big blinds deep, so there is a big depth component here. Like I don't think you're getting check raised here at a very high frequency on 975, because of the depth.
Yeah.
So like I kind of like a quarter or a third in position here. Because I just think that like their overpairs, they're like you're getting under check raised at this depth.
Okay.
So, and maybe like their check raising range is just going to be like combo draws or flush draws or hands of that nature. So like I think you do have a lot of playability if you decide to just start betting on the flop.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
You're kind of guessing a lot when you check back and the turn's a blank and then you start facing big bets. So my preference, I think I would just bet.
Just bet small.
A quarter or a third, then kind of play turns accordingly. Generally checking back, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I do not do that. I check back. And the turn is the king of spades, which is one of the ones that we would certainly be guessing on should the big blind bet big on the turn and big on the river. But he checks the turn. Whoa. I mean, a little surprised.
Like, if they're checking range, they can have like queens through tens.
Yeah, queens through tens. Okay.
That are like natural checks. Maybe some like 7-8 suited, 8s, 6s,
ace-5 suited,
9-10, ace-5 suited. Yeah. Like it feels like they still have some like natural checks here on the turn, and you beat some of their hands that double check. So I'm fine with just checking back here. Do I check back here? I think it's another situation where you could bet the turn. If you don't get check really wanted to. Yeah. Just bet the turn small and realize your showdown.
Yeah.
But looks to be that you're in a checking mood.
There's a more profitable path.
So you check back. The flop was 9-7-5 with the 9-7 of spades. Turn is a king of spades. River is a 4 of spades. So 4 flush run out. And villain bets like a 20% pot or so on the river.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could get on board with turning this hand into a bluff. I find it fairly unlikely that you're going to win at showdown. Just villains hands villains hands that you beat probably start betting the turn at a decent clip, and also probably use a bigger sizing on the river than a fifth.
I also don't expect them to have very many naked ace of spades.
No.
Or even just like nut flushes, right? Because I think nut flushes probably bet the flop, and if they don't bet the flop, they almost certainly bet the turn.
I mean, like they're offsuit. Yeah.
And I would think like, ace jack with the ace of spades or something, ace queen with the ace of spades would probably start betting the turn too once they turn the nut flush draw.
It's all well and good, but like what the hell kind of nut flush do you have?
Well, let's worry about that after we eliminate the eliminate all the nut flushes from his range.
It's all well and good that like they don't have the nut flush, but like, okay, so you check back a nut flush draw on the flop, turn the nut flush and check back, or you check back overcards with backdoor nut flush draw, turn to backdoor flush draw with like ace queen with the ace of spades and check it back. Maybe. Unlikely, but maybe. Anyway, it's
ace king, ace of spades that I check back.
Yeah, right. Sell that story to somebody.
Yeah. Okay. So we both don't have very many nut flushes.
Yeah, neither one of you have that many ace x of spades, but it's not necessary that they know that.
Sure.
Maybe they don't know that, and maybe due to their size and the line that's been taken, like you can actually expand your value raise range to like the queen of spades, possibly the jack of spades, possibly. So yeah, you may not have the ace of spades, but you could raise the river, I think, with the queen or jack of spades. I think that's like totally reasonable line for you to take here.
Yeah. What size are you raising to? Like, what are you targeting here when you pick a raise size? Are you targeting like a medium to low flush, or?
Yeah, tens with the 10 of spades, eights with the 8 of spades, sixes with the 6 of spades. God. That's like 9 combos. Yeah. Jacks with the jack of spades feels like we're getting into dangerous territory of them not folding. But one of those hands would be the type of hand that I would be targeting.
Yeah. Okay. I thought there's like two competing things for me with sizing here. The first one was just like, can I just like click it and like get the same thing done with like as like a really big raise, or
I don't think so.
Could I just go? Should I just go huge and make it so that if they don't have the nut flush, sort of like all their flushes are kind of the same value, and like just make it obvious, like, hey, like I have the ace of spades here or nothing. I'm not like value raising the jack or queen of spades, so you can't think about it with the jack or queen of spades.
There's like so many competing incentives here that it's hard to. I guess I would just go big and hope for the best.
Yeah,
like I think if you go small, like they're just going to call, with all their one spade hands. So like if you click it, I don't think you're folding out a spade. I think a spade is going to be getting at that point like infinite to 1, and they're just going to flick it in.
Yeah, they're going to be getting like between 7 and 8 to 1.
Yeah, which good luck generating folds.
Yep.
Yeah, so you kind of went to risk 222 to win 275. So need for them to fold like, less than half the time, 45%-ish. I'm on board. I think it's fine.
Okay, nice. We do get the fold. And he ended up going way thinner than we thought.
Yeah, ace, king, no spade. Mm-hmm. Good. You definitely want them to be going super thin there when you raise.
Sure. Yeah.
Them having ace, king is like quite a victory, I think.
Thank God. Yeah.
All right, we got one more in this batch.
1 for 2.
1 for 2. We have a 10 and a 5 at different suits. So
yeah.
Okay,
see, now it's okay, right?
Yeah, I see. So everybody folded to John.
No, to the small.
Everybody folded to the small blind who clicked it. So they min raised against John in the big blind. So getting 3 to 1 with his 10 and his 5, almost certainly playing against fish, considering clicking it from the small. Either that or a misclick type situation. So you call. And wow, what a flop.
Oof,
flop is Queen of Hearts, 6 of clubs, 4 of clubs. John has the 10 of spades, 5 of hearts. So absolutely no connection to anything outside of some, backdoor trips draws that
you always have.
Villain starts out with a check. Yeah, I mean, I think stabbing here is totally reasonable.
Yeah, just like half pot or something.
Yeah.
Take a shot. No. I want to make it more fun than that.
Back. Yeah. Let's give ourselves a gut shot.
Gut shot. Now we can call.
Turns to 8 of diamonds. Yeah, I mean, I guess a gut shot is your threshold, right? You had the 7-9 on king, queen, jack. That you need the gut shot.
The 7-9 gut shot. Yeah, that was
And the river's a king. So villain bet $10 on the turn. River's an overcard, and they bet half pot. I mean, this one I think I'm just like slam dunk on board with.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
I would just, raisy daisy, and that's it. You make it 100 into a pot of 60. So totally reasonable here on the overcard. Villain betting half pot. Just, I like it. It's good.
Yeah. Felt like a hand like Queen X or maybe even 8X going sort of thinnish on the river. That's sort of what it felt like to me, and kind of the range that I was targeting with this raise. Hopefully they just don't have very much top pair now on the river that bets the turn, unless maybe it's like King 5 or King 7 type of hand that turned a gut shot. So yeah, I felt pretty good about this one too.
I'll tell you, like I tell them in Poker Power Hour when we're discussing the CPG courses, and someone inevitably asked me, what do you think that the fish has here? What do you think their range is? And my answer is always, I have no idea. I've studied hundreds of millions of hands played by this player profile. I'm probably like one of the foremost world experts on how recreational players play poker, and I legitimately have no earthly idea what they have.
No, that's like the indicator of someone who's actually like spent lots and lots of time working in fish data, is that like, the people who don't know what they're talking about are the ones that are like, yeah, he can have like this hand and that, like it's like people like me who are like, he can have like King 5 or King 7 here. Like,
right.
No. Like,
I have legitimately no idea. Like, and I'll show their cards. Okay, they have third pair here that they're betting half pot. I don't, again, I have no idea what they have. They could have absolutely nothing. They could have a set. Just sort of doesn't matter to me. But they do fold, so it does go through. So you are 1 for 2 with gut shots. Congratulations.
Nice. But 2 for 3 now on CPG approval for
2 for 3. Yes. I think the 7-9 of clubs, you should just bet the flop, or you should fold the turn.
Yeah, or he could not river trips, and my raise could have worked.
Yeah. Do they bet if they don't river trips?
Dude, bet 2/3 on the turn with second pair. You might bet you could just be like, yo, Queen 3, like bet turn,
That's
bet
true.
river, baby.
I don't know what people are doing.
Look at this guy with ace 8, bet turn, bet river, baby, like second pair.
That's actually,
third pair.
It's honestly looks like a pretty good value bet. Like, I don't fault them for value betting third pair here. Hard for you to have better. All right. Nice. First 3 hands. After the break, we'll be breaking down 3 more hands. We'll see how John does. Stick around.
Are you a lone wolf searching for the ultimate pack? The CPG Wolf program is a close-knit brotherhood hell-bent on one thing only: chasing poker greatness. Powered by bleeding-edge wolf strats and led by Coach Brad and his lieutenants, CPG Wolves are systematically prepared for almost any spot they'll encounter on the green felt. If you want to plug into an elite team and have a step-by-step game plan to realize your full poker potential, you can apply at CPGWolves.com. Space is limited, and the pack is only as strong as its weakest member. So only the hungriest, grittiest, and most driven will be accepted into the program. Applications are open at CPGWolves.com.
All right. Welcome back from the break in this 6-hand episode extravaganza of river raises. Let's dive into the hands. So number 1, looks like you have a king and a jack of clubs. You click it from the cutoff. So playing again, 2.5, $5, 500, no limit. The button calls, small blind calls. So we take a flop 3 ways. There's 35 in the pot. You have the king of clubs, jack of clubs. Flop is king of diamonds, 8 of spades, 5 of diamonds. And the
You think I'm going to be bluffing the river when I raise, or value raising?
I don't know, John. I don't know. You have top pair though, so how could this one go wrong?
Or flush.
So villain leads into you. It's 6 of diamonds, 7 of diamonds. Villain leads into you like half pot. It looks like, probably with rake taken out.
Yep.
You call with your king jack, so you call with your top pair and whatever kicker that is, third kicker. button folds. Turns a deuce of clubs. You better not be bluffing on the river. I can't even imagine it now. Villain checks. And I guess sort of a decision here whether or not you bet the turn or check back.
Yeah, I think it's close again. We have, a CPG course that's dedicated to facing flop leads. So I won't like go too much into the data, but like, yeah, I think if you buy that course, you would probably be very aware that like I think value betting here, versus like maybe trying to pick off another bluff on the river is probably a close decision.
Yeah. So with that said, I expect you to check behind actually.
I think there we go.
There you go. Yeah, check behind. So river is a tray of clubs. So king of diamonds, 8 of spades, 5 of diamonds, deuce of clubs, tray of clubs is the final board. There's 68 in the pot. We can just round that up to 69 like Michael Scott would do. And villain bets $25 and now the decision. So raise for value or just call. There's not a world. I don't think there's a world where I don't raise for value.
Okay.
Like I'm just raising for value here.
Yeah.
And it's
going really, really small, I assume.
I don't know. Like you could go at least like to 86.
Yeah, that's pretty small.
100 and 111.
111. Whoa, we'll round it up again.
I mean, yeah, like I think that from villain's perspective, you're probably going to have natural bluffs. I find it quite unlikely that they, I guess they could be inducing here. That'd actually be a pretty good bet, I think, if they bet small to get induce raises from like king, jack, king.
Really?
King.
I just thought that once this guy flats a small blind and donks king 8-5 into 2 people, it's probably a fish, especially when he donks half pot. So like, wasn't too scared of getting induced here.
And the 25. 25 pure bet, also a sign that they don't have like some kind of software sizing their bets for them. So yeah, I mean,
so you're on board with
whatever,
a small value
whatever
raise
you want.
here.
I'm definitely on board with raising. It's just a matter of like the size.
Yeah.
There's 93 in the pot, so somewhere in the order of 90-ish. Ooh.
Like, dude, I'm telling you, I want to get called by an 8.
I see. And all right, so your size of, who knows? Did they any timing on this click? I'm guessing they just instantly called.
It's 500. You got 15 seconds max to.
Yeah.
So
all right.
You couldn't have even tanked if you wanted to.
Yeah,
just another really good example of like, don't bother putting fish on a range. Like I would have never guessed that a 5 donks the flop and then value bets the river. Well, I don't know what he's doing on the river. Presumably value betting if he's bet calling.
Yeah. Yep. So villain has ace-5 off. Once again, I have no earthly idea of what hand they have. I just think that they have a worse hand than king jack. So
sure.
Go for the value. I actually don't know about the size. Who knows? Whether
now that they have like 5x, aren't you like, man, maybe you should just go really, really small?
Maybe, but you didn't go big. You didn't go bigger to see if they call with 5x. Like we actually don't know whether they called bigger or not. So who knows?
More 500.
Right, so more 500. Villain's like a half stack in the big blind. You open 3x with the ace of spades, 5 of hearts. Villain calls. Flop is 6 of spades, 9 of hearts, 10 of spades. So you actually have a backdoor nut flush draw here. And villain leads for $5. So 1/6 of the pot. There's so many options on the table here. You can
you can learn about them if you buy the NUFFLE course.
Yeah. All the options are on the table. You're flatting.
Mm-hmm.
I think raising is reasonable too. I think calling and then betting versus chai is like just everything's on the table. Yep. Actually, just calling down might even be on the table.
Yeah.
With ace-5 high.
Especially once the 6 pairs.
Yes. Turn pairs a 6. So 6, 9, 10. Turn 6. Villain bets half pot, which is a nice size to see. And you call. And the river is the queen of spades. So completes the front door flush draw and, is an overcard to the board. So final board is 10, 9, 6, 6, queen with the queen, 10, 6 of spades. Villain bets. I don't even know what this is. This is
like 1/5 pot, a little bit
Yeah,
less than that.
20% pot or so. I mean, just send it.
Oh yeah, this feels like a 9 or a 10 or something like that, right? And I know we're not supposed to like put fish on hands or whatever, but like, yeah, the small bet really felt like, some sort of like 10x or 9x. I really like that. Like, it's tough for him to have a naked queen here. I guess like queen jack, queen
Queen Jack, King
8.
Queen.
Yeah, maybe king queen. Yeah, okay. So maybe there are enough queen x's.
Plus, who knows? Who knows what they have? Queen 7, Queen 8.
Yeah, we have the
Who
ace of
knows?
spades. That's pretty nice.
They could just have Queen Deuce of Diamonds for all I know. But I think with the Ace of Spades and the fact that this card does threaten their turned middle pair, or their middle pairs on the turn, their top pair on the turn, their like pair plus gut shots, those type of hands. Also, that they bet so small, I feel like that's gonna have some removal effect from like the nuts, and you block the nut flush. So all of these, I'm definitely on board. I would just send it.
You're just ripping the whole thing.
Yeah, I would just send it.
Ooh, I don't remember what size I went, but I don't think I did all of it. Oh, never mind. Yeah, of course.
Is there another option? Ooh, this one gets caught.
You snapped.
The Queen 8. I told you, the Queen 8.
Why?
They induced.
Yeah.
Little did they know, they're probably getting it no matter what they do. But, I'm on board with this raise, so you're batting a high percentage here.
4 for 5. And like
4
the
for 5.
one that wasn't good was ambiguous.
4.5
for 5. Can we round up?
I don't think so.
No,
That turn call is a little sus to me on that one. Final hand, ace jack off. Everybody folds to small blind, who opens to 15, and you call once again, playing 500 no limit. Flop is ace queen tray, rainbow. They bet half pot, and you call. Pretty much everything is above board. Turn is a king, so ace, king, queen, 3, full rainbow, and villain checks. I assume you're going to check behind?
Yep.
You check behind. Hard to get 3 streets. River's the 8 of diamonds, and they throw out a little blocker, like a third-ish.
Sure, you gotta raise here, right?
Think so. Getting bet 3-bet would be
How
frustrating.
Can you bet 3-bet?
I mean, go for check raise on the turn with Jack 10, miss it, bet small on the river. That's how. That's how they get there with Jack 10.
Don't you know how blockers work? I have a Jack in my hand.
I do know.
Can never have Jack 10.
So, like, my general rule of thumb is that, like, you check back the turn, so, like, you don't have the nuts. I would be hyper aware that, like, they know that I'm capped at ace 8 when I raise. And what they do with that information is up to them, but I am very aware that they know that, and they know that I don't have a straight, and so, like, that makes the river here kind of perilous reopening the action. So you raise small. just basically just egging them on.
Come on.
Oh, they fold. Lucky you. What happens if they bet 3-bet? You just
just grit my teeth and call and be like, yo, if you have it in you to check the turn straight and then block the river, hoping that I raise a bunch.
Yeah.
Then
you deserve.
Here's your $500, sir.
You deserve all these big blinds on the river. So
what do you have? Can you see his hand?
See, folks, this is why sometimes you can check back. You can check the turn with the nuts because John will just give you his whole stack. I have Queen 10, which
that would have been a good one to bet 3-bet jam.
What on God's earth are they doing once again? I don't understand.
Man, this guy's
don't get it.
He picked a 3rd on the river too, which feels reggish.
Yeah. Like, man, they're going for that ultra thin slice value, huh?
Yeah.
Trying to versus a 3? A 3 and a worse queen.
Yeah. That's kicker plays.
Okay. his kicker does play. Also has a pretty good hand to bet 3-bet too. And
Yeah, I know that.
them-
Like, this is the hand I would guess.
yeah.
One of the hands.
I mean, King Jack and King 10 I think are much better.
Sure,
but
sure. Yeah,
That's
they actually make a little bit more sense to value bet on the river.
Yeah. I think. I mean, this is just a 100% a blocker bet, like literally a blocker bet, hoping that you just don't raise, and they don't know what to do if you call, but table their hand and hope to God it wins, I guess is the plan. All right, so I think we had a high batting average on river raises,
Oh,
so it's
man.
good. It's
All
good.
right, yeah. We'll try to bring more hands in where I'm not batting like 1 for 7.
Yeah, just stack the deck, and we've done only like 100 episodes now, so I think at this point you can probably predict a lot of what I'm going to say in these hands. So you almost certainly did stack the deck today. So
Yeah.
well done, John. Well done.
All the
You played
river raises
Tactical Tuesday
were
well.
with pairs were not bluffs.
Yeah, you played Tactical Tuesday very well in this week's
Yeah.
episode. Thank you for listening to the show. That's all I got for this week.
Cool. See you next week.
Thanks for listening to Chasing Poker Greatness. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts or on your favorite podcast app. Go to chasingpokergreatness.com to get the newsletter, join the Greatness Village community, book a coaching session, or dive into the latest data-driven poker courses. Follow the show on Twitter @CPG Podcast.